Hello and welcome to the All Round Coaching Podcast, episode number 48. I have got Mel here today, so I won't just be talking and ranting to myself. Hello, Mel.
She normally rants to herself anyway, regardless. I've heard her in the study.
No, but I think a lot of these topics are inspired with maybe what I see on social media, client struggles and check-ins, and then obviously what I do see maybe around the gym sometimes. So for me, this episode, I want to focus a little bit more on the mindset and the behaviours because they are the two key things that get people to the goal, even though social media leaves you to believe that you can achieve everything in 8 weeks and you keep it and that's all you will ever need. For me, obviously, it does go a little bit deeper and I pride myself on my service and actually helping people, hence why I only take so many clients on as well. So there might be some areas where I go off on a little tangent or I might debate with Mel, it depends what she says, because none of these podcasts are scripted. It is just literally me getting whatever's in my brain out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anybody listening to these podcasts will think that they're scripted in any way, shape, or form.
Hey, they're quite professional. I'd like to think they're quite informative as well. I get good feedback on them.
Yeah, good. Yeah. What have you heard? What's the word on the street?
Don't put me on the spot. No, people enjoy them. But anyway, we are going to get into it and then I'll fire Mel after this episode and she won't be back. But no, like, first topic for me, and it was a discussion that I did have with someone, and a lot of people say, oh, I haven't got that motivation, and I have covered this before, but it resonated and struck a chord with them, and I said, rather than looking for that motivation that's a fleeting feeling, why don't we anchor it down to something that actually matters? And for me, it was saying, like, example, anchor it to your kids, like, you want to be healthier to be around longer for your kids, and then that ties into the why. If you've got a why, then you're going to be more focused on actually achieving your goals. So just saying, I want to lose fat isn't enough, and people don't care enough for that. But if you say, obviously, I want to lose weight to be around longer for my kids, then you're going to anchor it to that and actually put the effort in to achieve it.
Yeah, like having a bigger cause in effect, because what happens when you get to a body point where you're happy with yourself, then you're just in no man's land, aren't you? You need something that's, granted, we all want that body, that physique, or that feeling of feeling healthier. But at the end of the day, like, it becomes bigger than that. I mean, for me, I did start off with I don't want to look like a fucking potato anymore. But it became more of a, well, actually now I'm in a sedentary job that I don't want to be an old woman. Like, I don't want to, well, I do want to, obviously I'm going to be an old woman, but
Stop time.
I don't want to be an older woman that can't move and can't walk and is in a mobility scooter because I haven't looked after myself when it counts, which is now.
Yeah, so it's looking beyond that goal of thinking it's just about fat loss and it's just about the aesthetics. And I think for me, like, the reason I'm probably so motivated, I don't even like using that word, but I stay on track because my why means more to me. Like, I've grown up around people and obviously lost my dad and an uncle to those that don't look after the health, and it was the same with my nan. Like, I don't want to fall into that trap. So for me, like, your health is a non-negotiable. And do I put a price on investing in my health? No, because you only get one body, you only get one mind, and you only get one life. So it makes sense for me to look after it. And we are in a generation in the society that probably couldn't give a fuck about the health, only unless it's too late. And I think I said on my alcohol and me podcast, like, when my dad was dying in bed, he said, I feel so fucking stupid, I don't want to die. And obviously, hearing stuff like that, sometimes it's too little too late, and that's when people have that wake up call. But obviously, you shouldn't get to that point for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because I imagine quite a lot of your clients kind of come to you with that. I want to look better, I want to feel better. But how do you find that? Do you find that shift changes the more that they train, or the more that they get into and understand how it works, rather than, like, does it change, or do they just kind of get to a point where they're like, right, I'm fine with that now, I'm going?
No, it does shift, and I think a good few of my clients have been with me for a while, and the reason it shifts is because we get to build that coach relationship, and we build that coach relationship when they communicate with me. Obviously, they give me the information that I need to help them, but obviously that trust starts to build, and that takes a good few months. So if you're someone that hops between coaches, you're probably not going to get anywhere because you haven't tapped into that relationship. So for me, I've got a few clients that trust me enough to open up and I can help them further, and obviously they do succeed. And a lot of them now are with me beyond the fat loss, the physique goals. They're with me sometimes for the mental health, for the overall health. and to actually keep them moving and get them in the gym.
But the
So
lifestyle as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Rather than
so they aren't like, even though they started for a fat loss goal, probably 90% of them, they're with me and they continue with me because it's gone beyond that. And I can help the ones that actually communicate with me, that actually check in, and they succeed more. So obviously, when you helped me create my welcome guide, we titled it "Those Who Check In Win" because they do, and it isn't just about all the wins and everybody smashes every week. It's the ones that communicate when they're struggling the most. They get the most out of the coaching.
yeah, I mean, granted, obviously, like the clients that are saying like I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, like, and then you are having to say like think of the bigger picture, think of the things that you're going to be here for beyond just the superficial, which is effectively how you look. Like that's because they're communicating that with you, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think obviously it does, like I will keep saying it, it goes beyond the aesthetics. An example for a lot of females, and maybe some males as well, is they'll focus on that scale weight rather than the actions that are going to get them to that fat loss goal, if that is the goal. If I took away the scales and say, don't weigh yourself for 30 days, but follow the actions that are going to get you there, you succeed more. And I think a lot of people self sabotage. Well, fuck it, I've not lost £4 this week, so I'm just going to do what I want because it isn't working. People don't allow that time for it to work, and they aren't as accurate and honest as what they think they are. So sometimes that accountability wavers, and they think because the scales haven't told them that they've lost weight, they've gone into that self sabotage. And scales don't dictate success. It doesn't know if you lost body fat. It doesn't take into account what you've eaten, your stress levels, your sleep, your menstrual cycle. It isn't going to give a fuck about that. It is just a number. So not basing your success just on them scales.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Mentality around the scales is something that we've all been brought up with for some mad, obscure reason. Like,
I think it was one of my clients. Was it Weight Watchers or Slimming World or something? And it was. It did make me laugh. But there was a pig pen. I can't remember what it was, but obviously it was back in either the 90s or something, and that's someone growing up around where food was a punishment, scale weight meant everything, and obviously there is still people that fixate on that, even though, like, I always say to people, are your actions aligning with your goals, and are you actually following what's set, and I don't like saying ticking all the boxes, but how accurate are you actually being, and how honest are you being with yourself? So if you know you've eaten, say, in a calorie deficit, you've done activities outside the gym, you've got your walking, obviously your steps in, you've trained and you've ate really well, and you start to look and feel better from it, are you going to let the scales dictate whether you've succeeded or not?
yeah.
And you shouldn't. Like, it isn't the only thing. Like, it's one small variable. If you are a morbidly obese person, then yeah, obviously we do need to see the scales come down a little bit, but that's probably the only time I'd focus on it.
Yeah, I mean, even with like someone that's like 9 stone wet through, like that doesn't mean that they're necessarily healthy in themselves, does it? Like, it's just a number.
Yeah, because I probably weigh more now than I think I ever have, but my body composition doesn't show that. When I was 7.5 stone, I was the skinniest and lightest version of myself. Like, my happiness wasn't at that weight, and I was probably the most unhappy. But I didn't look well either. Now, obviously, I have got a lot of muscle for my size, but I don't fixate on what I weigh. And I think there was 2 weeks where I did forget to weigh myself, but me and you were actually more on plan. We were more accurate with food. We were more mindful of what we were eating, and we both feel better for it. And we know our actions have aligned with that, and obviously we're reaping the rewards from it.
It's mad because I checked in with you this week, and like, I mean, I started with you at 68 kilograms, and this week I was at 68 kilograms. Like, but I feel good in myself. Like, I look back. I'm back. I feel like I'm back to where I want to be, having had a bit of a dip and a bit of a waver. But I didn't sacrifice or make myself suffer because I'm back to where I was when I first started with you. Like, I've just kind of cracked on, and it's, to me, it's not a second thought. Like, I've watched my mum fixate over the scales. I've got to get, oh, I want to get to 9.5 stone, and she's 10 stone. Like, I've got to get to that weight. I've got to get to that weight, but she's still, she still wasn't lean. Like, what difference does it make if she gets to that number and then she's still not happy? Like, that for me, I always watched that when I was growing up, and I'm like, why are you chasing that number?
Yeah, I mean, numbers are infinite, and if you're basing your happiness on that number, you'll probably never be happy. But I think a lot of people, they think, well, if I get to this weight, I'll be happy, and you won't be. If you've got goals where you want to look toned or you want to feel better in clothes, then probably that toned look is what people are chasing, and that is having a little bit of muscle and getting the balance right. It isn't smashing yourself into the floor just to be a lighter version of yourself, because I can guarantee that you will not feel happy from it.
Yeah, I mean everybody is different as well. Like somebody's optimal weight, it'll be completely different to the best pals. It'll be completely different to their aunties. Like that weight will be that'll naturally you'll naturally tell me if I'm right or wrong. You naturally kind of settle at a weight anyway, don't you? Like you've got normally like a resting weight.
Yeah, you'll have your maintenance, and I think if we were going off what I'm supposed to weigh, I'm sure I'm supposed to weigh something like 52 kilo, which I've been 54 on a prep at my leanest, and that was a really fucking hard graft to get there. Like, it isn't that a healthy and natural way to get there, and I don't think people take into consideration like people's body composition when they're just focusing on the scale weight. And it isn't something like, if someone comes to me and say I want to weigh this, like, I will challenge it, and I do try and educate clients. It is up to them to take it on board and listen. Like, if you are paying for me and obviously my coaching service, it makes sense to listen and ask me questions and learn from it, not be resistance against it and then think, "Do you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to listen, but I'll still pay her anyway." Like, I do appreciate people that listen, ask questions, challenge me a little bit, but I do know what I'm doing, I do know what I'm talking about, and I've probably lived through all the mistakes myself when I first started out, so I help people avoid that and falling into the trap of quick weight loss and just focusing on that number.
Yeah, that 3 month is still it crops up again. Like we're 48 episodes in, we've had a good few guests, and I think what 9 out of 10 of them would say that the 3 month milestone is the key one where it all starts kind of clicking into place. And I get it. Like when I first started with you, I was like, I think mentally I'd prepared myself for it to take a bit of time. And I think anybody that starts coaching just probably has to have a little bit of patience because the quick and easy isn't quick and easy. Like it's you've got to kind of well, it's not even quick and easy, is
No,
it?
it takes longer when people think I'm going to do quick, so they'll do this, I don't know, 8 week shred. It's going to be quick, it's going to be absolutely amazing. And some people can go hard and heavy, but to keep that, you need to keep the habits that you did to get there. And if it is extreme, it probably isn't sustainable either.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's building the habits. And obviously, I always say to people when they start coaching, I am coming in and I'm changing your habits that you've built over X amount of years. Like, it will be hard at times, but it's worth it, because then when them new habits set in, that's how you are going to keep the results that we do get together. So if you don't listen, then you're probably not going to get anywhere. And if you don't question or learn anything, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be an element of trust on both parts, though, hasn't there? Because, like, for example, I've bust my shoulder. I don't know how I've done it. We've been going to a physio or an osteotherapist. He's excellent at what he does, and I wholeheartedly 100% trust him and what he's asking me to do, regardless of some of the things that he's asking me to do doesn't make sense. Like I've gone into him for a shoulder injury, and he's looking at my feet. Like, but I trust him because he knows what he's doing, and that's the thing.
Yeah, he's an expert in his field. It's not just general advice, it's bespoke to you and obviously what you've done. I think that's why I'm a little bit more resistant when people go to doctors and they take what they say as gospel. Like, it is general practice. They're not an expert in that field. And when you look a little bit deeper, they probably haven't studied physio like yourself. They haven't studied nutrition, training, exercise, etc. So it is when things are a little bit more bespoke, like someone obviously like the field I'm in, I've took the time to learn about that client, but the trust and communication is one of my biggest things. If you don't communicate with me, it is a bugbear, but I can't help people that don't want to be helped. Like, are you coachable? Are you going to communicate with your coach? Are you going to listen? And are you going to follow what they've set out for you? Because it is tailored to that person.
Yeah, I just find it bonkers if you're paying someone something and you're just not going to utilise the service. It doesn't make sense in my mind whatsoever.
I find that mental, but then sometimes I think, do people just have a coach to say I've got a coach and they expect the results without the work? Because it won't work if you don't work, and that is like a little quote that I might put out this week. But I think for a lot of people, that they just focus on that end goal and not all the behaviours they have to learn along the way that I'm trying to teach them. Like, if you are resistant to it, ask yourself, well, why am I resisting what she's guiding me to, even though it's going to get me to my goal?
Do you think there's a perception there, though, that if they think that they've got a coach, that's the magic formula?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been questioned, like, can I blame you for my lack of progress? Well, I'll question a client, like, have you done X, Y, and Z? And I won't just say, have you ate on plan? Have you done your training? Like, I like to delve a little bit deeper, go into the lifestyle, what they've been doing, the stress levels, and how I can help them. But if people don't communicate with me, I'm not going to be able to help, and that's the biggest thing, the communication.
I think that's one of the things that I found invaluable with you. Like when I was obviously when I first started out with you was you didn't just give me like a template to run with, like, or it never felt that way. And I'm obviously I've lived with you now, and I see that it isn't a template whatsoever. Everything is bespoke, but like life changes around us all the time, like, and your understanding of when someone gets mad busy and how they might be feeling, like, especially as someone like myself who is a mad perfectionist, like understanding that I might be feeling overwhelmed because I can't hit my training sessions this week, or I can't hit my steps. You'll go, right, okay, well, let's pull it back. I know how you might be feeling mentally, and I don't want you to fall off the wagon because you feel like you're not succeeding. So it's understanding that life has a big impact around your success, not just going into the gym and training.
Yeah, and I think that's where I started to bring range targets in. So I would set clients the optimal, i.e., gym sessions. So their optimal might be 4, and I'll set them a non-negotiable at 3. So it sets them up to think, well, if I don't get 4 and I've got 3, I've still succeeded, because it is easy to fall into that all nothing mentality. I've had it in the past with myself. Well, fuck it, I haven't gone to the gym. I might as well not go all week because I've missed that one session. And it's like, if you lost £10, would you throw away all the rest of your money? That scenario, and you wouldn't. So that's where I started to work a little bit more with range targets, and it has helped people massively, because we aren't looking for perfect, and something is better than nothing. Like, if you can't go to the gym for an hour, just go for 15-20 minutes. You've still done something, you've still moved your body, and you still progress more than doing absolutely fuck all.
It's that mad mentality though that you've got to go fucking hell for leather to succeed, and yes, it will certainly speed things up if you do more than what you were doing, but it's just not sustainable, is it?
No, I mean, I'm quite open. Like, I train hard, and I'm getting back into it now because I did have that little dip myself. But my sessions when I'm on my own last me 35-40 minutes, and I'm using my rest time, but I'm training to failure, and I'm pushing myself. And obviously, I don't think I look amazing personally at the minute, but I've got a decent physique, and it's getting better because I actually push myself. And it isn't the hours and hours that I spend in the gym, it's the recovery and everything outside of it and alongside it, and my communication by being guided by a coach as well. And I think for me, because I have been coached and I am coached, like, I know the value that that has. Prior to that, when I was learning, when I started out 21 years ago, and I didn't have a clue, like, I wasn't getting anywhere. I was training 6-7 days a week, copious amounts of cardio, restricting food, eating foods I didn't enjoy, and it didn't last. I didn't get anywhere. And the penny dropped when I actually got a proper coach in 2019 that knew what she was doing. And obviously I've continued with a coach since then, because they do, obviously I can't focus solely on myself because I've got my clients, but someone's focusing on me and I can achieve my goals, and I listen to what she says. And I listened when I first started out with a proper coach. Like, that's how I look the way I do now.
Yeah, because you get to a point where you're like, I'm not happy anymore, I need some help.
Yeah, and do you know what? There's no shame in getting help, but if somebody's trying to help you, like, meet them halfway. Like, ask questions, absolutely, but meet them halfway and just be willing to learn and undo the habits that have got you to a point where you're not feeling happy. Because obviously, my main focus is looking after my clients, making sure that I get them to a point where they do feel happy and they start to enjoy life, the confidence grows, they're getting healthier, they're getting in the gym, and they're actually enjoying what they're doing. Because if you enjoy it, you will stick at it.
Yeah, because I know you've seen some success this week with like your check-ins, like one of your clients in particular, like you can physically see the difference on the photographs that, and that's the mad thing is that the photos, like it incremental week by week, fortnight by fortnight, doesn't seem like a lot of changes, but then if you look at it then back from 3 months, back 4 months, or however long, like you go, whoa, that is a big change.
Yeah, and do you know what they say? I didn't think I was changing until you point it out. I had a client in tonight, and she said, I actually enjoy going shopping. I feel more confident. I like putting on clothes. Not that she walks around naked, but she likes trying clothes on. And do you know what? I said, that was really perfect. That I wish I'd have got that on a testimonial.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. And this was someone that was petrified to go in the gym. And she doesn't, like, I don't hold her hand. She doesn't see me frequently. She only sees me twice a month. But she utilises the online aspect, and she utilises the check-ins. So the weeks that she struggled, she communicated and I've been able to help her. If she didn't check in, didn't communicate, I wouldn't know what she's doing or how to help her, and that's where the value is. It isn't me training you in the gym. I will teach you how to train, and I am quite anal on my form at times, but it's all the outside stuff and the education that gets you to that point where you want to be.
Yeah, I think we did the maths, didn't we, the other day, or we tried to do the maths. Neither of us are at adept at
Yeah,
accounting and sums, but
them numbers for me. So, example, you train, what, 4 times a week, that's 4 hours in the gym. We have 24 hours in a day.
So we worked it out as that you've got 24 hours in a day, so minus the time on the average time that you would sleep. So take 8 roughly from 24. So you're looking at 16 hours left in the day where you're not sleeping. So take roughly, if you are training on that day, that's an hour, call it maximum, really, because there's no need to be in the gym for 2 hours a fucking day.
No.
So that's 15 hours a day. So you're left with 15 hours in the day. People seem to think that once they've done that training session, that is their success. But
Yeah.
in actual fact, it's mad because you think, right, okay, hypothetically speaking, you spend half an hour prepping your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. So that's 1.5 hours. And then you do the same thing roughly if you're digesting your food properly, the same amount of time eating your food, so half an hour per meal. So that's 3 hours. So that's 12 hours left of the day. Granted, obviously most people will be working through the day, but that's 12 hours where at least half of those hours you should be moving like a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just to say, I think people only associate the gym, and I've had this discussion before. They only see the gym as the only point of exercise, but obviously going for a walk, your actual movement around the house, fidgeting, even digesting food, like that's your body working rather than just being so sedentary and not doing anything. And that's where people probably fall a little bit short and they rob themselves of the results that they want because they don't move outside of a gym session. I've had it where people have been on less than 1,000 steps in a day, which blows my mind. So if you aren't moving a lot, you do not need the food that you're probably eating. So if you're sat around all day expending zero energy pretty much, just while you sat there fidgeting, you probably don't need to eat as much. And I think that's probably why people are gaining more weight and they are getting bigger.
Yeah, because they're eating like they are moving 6 hours a day,
Yeah.
but they're not moving at all. Like I've done it, granted, like I can be criminal, I have been criminal in the past of when you feel absolutely mad busy, and I know you work with quite a lot of busy professionals, that they feel chained to the desk. They feel like I'm on a call, I've got to do this, I've got a deadline, I've got to meet that. But they're sitting at your desk and they're sitting and staring at a screen, sitting on a call. Granted, obviously you can't get out of them sometimes, but like they're not helping you like in life, full stop. Like the mental capacity that you have when you stared at a screen for fucking 4 hours is nil pois. Like you need to get up, get moving, and actually take a break and have a walk. Like I think a lot of people obviously like praise the fact that they get dogs because it actually gets them out and gives them some sort of purpose beyond just sitting and working. But
Yeah, it does. Increases people's success and the productivity more when they have took that time away. Because I think a lot of people fall into that trap. Well, if I take a break now, I'm not going to get this done. And then, I mean, if anyone's like me, that it's that productive procrastination. Like I am better when I've had a walk and I've set myself up for the day, and not just gone straight into messaging and emails and all the client check-ins. I'll set myself up for the day, go out for a walk, and I think that's what we're getting back into, and we have been more productive from it. And my creativity is creeping back up from doing things like that. And that's where a lot of busy people fall into that trap. Well, I can't take a break because I won't get as much done, but I can promise you that you'll be more productive, more rested, more successful when you start to look after yourself, take that time away that you need, and you will get more done. I've found it, and it's not like a lot of. That's why I always say the most successful people, i.e., Stephen Bartlett, it's not a coincidence that they all look after their health. So, yeah. I'll wrap it up there because obviously I feel like has been a long debate for people. But just take this away that you need to focus a little bit more on the why. It goes a little bit deeper than fat loss. Focus on your behaviours, not just the end goal, and focus on the daily actions that are going to get you there, not just thinking that it's a scale way to be all and end all. If you are struggling or someone that does need that help and guidance, like yes, I do have the online coaching and the app access as well, and you can reach out. One thing I will do is make sure that you are a good fit for me and my coaching, and that we do get on because obviously I do need that relationship with the client to build it as well. So if you need any help, drop me a message. And obviously, if you did enjoy this podcast, or you think that it is going to help someone, then just give it a share.
Yeah, no further questions, Your Honour.
No. And we will be back next week. Before we do take a little break after episode 50, just to recoup and get some together. So hopefully you have enjoyed these podcasts.